So metformin helps with glucose in the body somehow, the metabolism of glucose, correct? So
Right.
why does that, why do you think metformin works, and do you feel real strong like you did last time that you were here about it?
Yeah, I feel even stronger. There's a lot of data from looking at tens of thousands of people that went on metformin, and people who go on metformin who have type 2 diabetes, who normally would live a short lifespan because they have more cardiovascular disease, they're
Mm,
aging faster. They're actually protected from these diseases relatively.
mm,
And those type 2 diabetics on metformin live longer than people that don't have type 2 diabetes.
mm,
That's a remarkable observation.
mm,
And because once you start to study tens of thousands of people, it starts to look real.
mm,
And especially for those people that are predisposed, like you are, to cardiovascular disease
mm,
and other issues like cancer, there it's very clear that metformin, on average, protects you against those diseases because it's not just working on keeping your glucose levels down. Remember, it's turning on the mitohormesis
yep,
and protecting the body through these defense mechanisms.
yep,
Now, people might be thinking, well, okay, you've got these protective mechanisms, but what are they actually doing to make you healthier?
mm,
Well, I've mentioned only one of the things they do, which is turning over those old proteins
mm,
that are either oxidized or have glucose stuck to them. But they do other things. They do protect telomeres when you turn them on.
mm,
But they do another thing that's really interesting, and that is that they can rejuvenate stem cells.
mm,
And so you get stem cells protected, and then they can divide, and then they can repopulate the body.
mm.
Another thing that they do really well, particularly the sirtuins, is that they help repair broken DNA. Anyone who's been in the sun, I was Australian, I've been damaged badly by the sun.
Me too.
That ages you. It actually is, we know that damage to DNA accelerates aging.
Mm,
In my lab, we can cause a mouse to be 50% older by doing this process.
mm.
The sirtuins will slow that down. We had a paper in Science in 2000 and it was
Interesting.
2018 that showed that by raising NAD levels, by giving mice NMN, the same molecule that I take, their DNA repair systems were much more efficient. And if you damage them with radiation, which we were trying to simulate space radiation, but it's also similar to cosmic rays that you get if you fly a lot,
Yeah,
which I know you do,
yeah.
NMN was protecting those mice from the damage. And you can see the damage. You look in their livers, there was damage in a normal mouse, and give them NMN, and it wasn't there for the most part.
Mm.
So that's another way it can protect against aging.
So good. So good. We're going to keep going because I love this. Any disclaimers on any of this that we've said so far that you would say to somebody who says, I got to get on this metformin or NAD? Is there any disclaimer, any downside, anything you would advise them to do just so that I make sure everyone's heard the totality of your thoughts about it?
Yeah. Well, one disclaimer is I'm actually not a trained physician. I
Mhm.
train physician, but I'm not a trained physician. I'm a
Mhm.
PhD who studies molecules.
Mm,
Um, and so there's that. So anytime you want to change something in your body, even if it's diet,
mhm.
but if it's a supplement, and of course a drug, you need your doctor. You want to consult them. So your doctor needs to know everything that's going on in your body because supplements are sometimes just as powerful as drugs.
Okay.
And if you cannot get, for example, this is a good point I think to bring up is if you cannot convince your doctor to get metformin,
Yeah.
there is an alternative.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm going to say. It's a plant molecule called berberine
Mm-hmm.
from the berber plant. And if you, in clinical trials, if you take it at 2 grams a day,
Mm-hmm.
it does lower blood glucose, similar to metformin, and that you can buy on any pharmacy or
Yeah.
online.
Yep. That's where I began. After we did our interview, I went to my doctor and I said, "We're getting on metformin," and she said, "No, we're not right now, not yet." And so that's where I began. And then after a period of time, she did a little bit more research and agreed. Have you done any reading on MOTS-C at all?
I've done more than reading.
Okay. What do you know about MOTS?